Hi everyone, I am so excited that you joined me. My name is Shaz Jones, and today I'm going to introduce you to a very exciting concept, and that is biomimicry weight loss. Now, I'm sure you understand what weight loss is, but you may not have heard the term biomimicry before, and quite simply, it just means to mimic or copy biology or natural things. So you can see at the moment I'm by the pool and I'm surrounded by lots of trees. And that's important because we're going to talk about trees. So I'm sure you've all noticed that we have a whole season called autumn in Australia or fall in America. I like the word fall better actually in this context because what biomimicry weight loss is about mimicking that process where trees just shed their autumn leaves or their fall leaves, they just fall away naturally. That's the kind of weight loss that we can mimic, where you just shed weight without any stress at all, without any even effort at all. So you may think that that sounds like a big claim, but stay tuned because I will explain it. So there is no gimmick in this mimic. It is just the most natural way to lose weight. So there are no drugs. If you're thinking, oh, it's probably some wonder drug, I have to take a pill, there's no drugs. There's no tablets at all. You don't have to take any supplements. There's no shakes. There's no surgery. There's certainly no radical mutilation of your body that is not natural. And I can say that because I've had 2 stomach surgeries. So I have 72 stainless steel staples in my stomach. I have tried that path. It will work for you if every other option has failed. So I really encourage you to believe in this, to have hope in this, to try this, even if every other option has failed you. In fact, especially if every other option has failed you, and particularly if you are like me, morbidly obese. So they're the people that I want to help because they are me. And I have been trying to solve this problem for my whole adult life. So that first stomach stapling operation I had was when I was 18. So I missed out on my school prom, or formal as we call it here, because back then in Australia we had it after our final exams, and I did my final exams and then went straight into hospital to have this surgery. And I'd waited till I'd turned 18 because the surgeon wouldn't operate on me before I'd turned 18. So it's been a long journey. I'm 51 now, 52 in a couple of months. So it's been a long journey, more than 30 years, about 33 years that I've been trying to find an answer. And that's why I'm so excited to share it with you guys, because if you're like me, it's really impacted your life. Sorry, I get emotional every time I think about this, but if I could have known this back when I was 18, first of all, I would have avoided thousands of dollars and pain, and completely ruined my kind of digestive system by doing that. But not just avoiding the surgery, but avoided all of the consequences of being morbidly obese over my life. So, and I know this is not just my story, because the data is very clear that morbidly obese people do not rise to the heights of their career compared to the general population. They do not earn as much money compared to the general population. They are not as lucky in love, if I can put it this way. They're much more likely to be single. They're much more likely to be less independent and dependent on the government or a relative or someone for financial support. There's a whole range of non-health reasons why I would have grabbed this with both hands if I'd known about it 30 years ago, because the cost of it over that last 33 years has just been so huge. And to know that I could have lived my best life, I could have lived a much better life, and been a much better contributor to all of the relationships around me as well. Like, I know even when I went out, I would feel sorry for my friends because I think, oh, they probably don't really want me here. There's that sense of, I'm the odd one out, or I'm not the cool one, or they're all pretty and I'm not. And all those sorts of things where I didn't let myself shine like I should have. As I said, I am outside, so you're going to see cockatoos, you're going to hear them squawking and all that sort of thing, but that's all part of the biomimicry message. So let me get into it a bit. So basically, biomimicry weight loss is about mimicking the process that trees use when they shed their weight. So basically, during summer, spring and summer, trees generate their own food. They have the ability to create their own food. And you might think, oh, that's really weird, but actually our bodies do too. So in many ways, we are more similar to plants than we are to animals or lab rats, which is what most of the testing for diet and exercise is done with. So like if we sit out in the sunshine, you probably know this, our skin has the ability to create vitamin D. Isn't that freaky? That we actually manufacture vitamins on our skin just by sitting in the sunshine. And trees, just by being in the sunshine, they, if you can remember back to your fourth grade science lessons of photosynthesis, they create sugars, glucose. And so that process where they create their own food happens mainly during spring and summer. So if you look at all the fruit trees that have lots of glucose, they tend to bud and flower in early spring, and they kind of set their fruit. And it depends on what kind of variety it is. It might take 100 days or so to kind of ripen the fruit over the summer. And then in the autumn, they are ready for people to harvest that fruit, and if they don't harvest that fruit, it just drops to the ground, and so do their leaves. So all of that weight is just naturally shed during autumn, and by the time winter comes along, the trees are basically bare. So they're just down to their trunk and their branches, their core, skeleton, if you like, but all of the weight is gone. And if you look at the data on long-term weight loss, people who lose weight in winter always put it back on because it was a struggle. They were working against their body to get there. People who lose weight in summer or spring and summer are slightly better, but people who lose weight in autumn keep it off. So there's no struggle then. That's your season. And the plants show us this, that you never see a plant going, oh, I've got to hit the treadmill because the autumn's coming up. There's no exercise involved in it. It's just completely natural. So how do they get there? Well, one of the things you have to understand, and Florence Nightingale understood this back in 1860, so like more than 150 years ago, she knew this. In fact, the British colonial medical journals of the time, when they were going out to India and Australia and different colonies, the English doctors had a great reverence for diet, and I use that term in inverted commas, anything that you eat, not a restrictive diet, but just a term for any food you eat. And there, it was really interesting. So Florence Nightingale wrote about this, and in 1860 and 1857, there's British medical journals in India written about this concept. And it is, if you are healthy, you follow this eating pattern. And if you are sick or your immune system is compromised in any way, or you have any kind of illness or disease, you eat in this opposite eating system. Now, here's why there are 2 billion people on the planet who are overweight or obese. There are 600 million who are obese or morbidly obese, and there are around 60 million who are morbidly obese. If you are morbidly obese, that is defined as having a BMI of more than 40. So a body mass index, you can Google that and find out how to calculate that. It's really easy to calculate. It's basically just your weight in kilos divided by your height in centimetres. And that gives you a body mass index. So if you were, say, 100 kilos and you were 2 meters tall, then you would have a body mass index of 50, right? Can't be right. Oh no, it's divided by squared, so it'd be 2 times 2. So for, say, 25, you'd have a body mass index of 25, which is normal and healthy. But if you're over 30, then you're obese, and if you're over 40, then you are morbidly obese. So it's those 60 million people who are morbidly obese that I want to help the most, because it's me. I've been morbidly obese my whole adult life. So this concept of having an opposite eating plan to healthy people is why we have people who are overweight. Because if your digestion and metabolism system has something wrong, and everyone I know who's morbidly obese is morbidly obese and something else. So they're morbidly obese and they have a thyroid issue, or I spoke to someone yesterday, he had thyroid cancer, had the whole thing cut out. You have blood pressure issues, you have lymphedema, I think it is, where your fat and your fluids collect on your limbs, particularly your lower limbs, rather than on your body. Blood pressure, diabetes, all kinds of other issues. Some people have microbiome or gut flora issues, hormonal issues. So the big times that women especially put on weight are puberty, pregnancy, and menopause. In other words, the 3 times when your hormones are going crazy is when your weight also just piles on really rapidly. And this kind of imbalance means that there's something unhealthy about your metabolism at that time. So you can't follow a healthy eating plan. I'll say that again because it's completely opposite of everything you've been told before. You cannot follow a healthy eating plan if you are morbidly obese. It's like, if you see these elite athletes and they train all the time and they're on the highest nutrition, they're on the best training program, they're on the treadmill all the time, and they go out on the sporting field and at the height of their fitness and they get injured. The coach doesn't say to them, just get up and do 10 more push-ups. He says, stay still, we'll bring the stretcher out. And they do the opposite when they're injured of what they do when they're healthy. And that's what you need to know to have a correct eating plan for you. It's going to be the opposite of a healthy eating plan. What you need is an unhealthy eating plan. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. So with the trees, when they're trying to grow their fruit and all that, all through spring and summer, they have a healthy eating plan, if you like, that creates mass. It creates sugar, it creates fruit, and they're very fruitful and everything's going swimmingly. And then in autumn, they reverse that process. And so they just shed it all. They just lose it all. They do the opposite of creating growth. And that's what we want for your body until you get healthy again. Once you get healthy again and you get to your goal weight, then you can start on a healthy eating plan. But until then, the worst thing you can do is try and have a healthy eating plan. So I hope this is kind of making sense. So Florence Nightingale in 1860 and the British Medical Journals in 1857 for India said what you want to do is have a largely plant-based diet if you are healthy, and eat raw as much as possible. So lots and lots of fresh vegetables, particularly green leafy vegetables with lots of nitrates in it. That's great for when you're healthy. But as soon as you get sick, what you want to have is lots of cooked food, lots of hot food where all of the bacteria is cooked away, and lots of animal products. So the ideal are broths, stews, and soups that are made with meat. So you may have been given chicken soup by your mum when you were sick. That is ideal. When you are sick, it will really boost your immune system, balance all of your hormones, your gut flora, and bring you back to health again. So when you've had your unhealthy eating plan working properly, it will make your body heal and make you shed all of the weight that's not supposed to be on your body. It's not natural that it's on your body. It'll get rid of all of that. All the toxins that are in your body will go, and you can get back to healthy. When you're healthy, by all means, follow all of that traditional diet and exercise advice that everyone else has been telling you about that works for skinny people, because it will work for you when you are back to your goal weight. So simple things like when a tree is making their own food, they take sunshine. Now, I spoke to a professor in WA, Dr. Shelley Gorman. She's the head of the obesity and diabetes department at the Telethon Institute. And her research on mice shows that if they take mice who are genetically predisposed to morbid obesity and they give them a high-fat diet, so they're expecting them to put on loads and loads of weight, and they split them up into two groups. So one group is predisposed to morbid obesity and given a high-fat diet and nothing else. The other group is predisposed to morbid obesity, like they have genetic problem that's engineered into them. And then they put them on a high-fat diet. And then twice a week for 5 minutes a day, they put them in sunshine. Now, after 12 weeks, the difference in the two groups is astounding. I hope you're sitting down because it will blow you away. The group that sat in the sunshine for 5 minutes a day, twice a week, over those 12 weeks, had a 40% reduction in weight gain. It's miraculous. It's like, what? As I told you before, this is the most natural way to lose weight. So you want to take care of all of your skin cancer kind of messages. Don't sit out in the midday sun. The midday sun's the best, but don't sit out in there for too long. There's a formula actually, which I can give you if you get in contact with me, which takes into account your skin type and takes into account the UV index where you are, because it will change with different climates and different seasons and different latitudes away from the equator and different heights above sea level, and all those things are taken into account. But we can tell you very conservatively how long you can spend in the midday sun without getting burnt, and that's very important to know. So by all means, get in touch if you can't find it by Googling it, or there's apps and all kinds of ways that you can work that out. But anyway, so just sunshine. So if you just do nothing else but get out into the sunshine and go on a gentle walk at midday every day, if you do nothing else but that, you will start to notice when the seasons change, that weight will just drop off you. So don't be discouraged if you start and nothing happens, because just like with the trees, there's a season that happens that is not up to you. It's up to Mother Nature, it's up to God, it's up to biology when that happens. So if I plant some spring bulbs, I love spring bulbs like daffodils. If I plant a spring bulb in spring, guess what happens? Nothing. If I plant that same spring bulb in summer, guess what happens? Nothing. Um, if I plant that spring bulb in in autumn or fall, guess what happens? It gets ready to start to bud. And as soon as the temperature gets cold enough, that temperature trigger helps it to grow. So you start to see a little stem shooting up from the ground, and then it grows taller and taller all through winter. And then by spring, you get this nice, beautiful, lovely daffodil. Now, our bodies basically work in the reverse of that. So instead of coming up in spring, we shed our weight in autumn. But it is temperature triggered just the same as a spring bulb is. So when I was in Portland in Oregon last year, everyone kept remarking how long the season had gone on for, because it was supposed to be autumn, but all of the trees were still covered in leaves, and they were these beautiful colours, and some of them were still really, really green, even though it was kind of late towards autumn. They hadn't even changed much of their colours. But then really quickly, the temperature changed, and all of the leaves started changing colours, and then they just dropped off so quickly. Like in a matter of a couple of weeks, they went from being fully clothed in leaves to be completely bare. And that's what happens with biomimicry weight loss. So it's there are some catalysts that you can take to kind of help that process, all natural things like minerals. So the trees get water and minerals from the soil that helps them catalyze this process. So it's not just sunshine and air, it's also the water and minerals, and we can help you with that as well. But look, if nothing else, I hope that this has helped you see, A, why things haven't worked for you before, B, that you have a natural season where things will work for you, and natural seasons where they won't, where you're just wasting the time. It's like me planting that spring bulb in spring or in summer. Nothing's going to happen. There's no point doing it. And that, C, it's really easy. It's natural. There's no stress. There's no striving. It's just doing the opposite of what you've been told you have to do. Just doing the opposite. Same with exercise. Like you never see a tree going, oh, I've got to get up early because I've got to hit the treadmill. They know that if they are diseased, all they have to do is sway with the breezes. It's just that gentle thing of getting their trunk and their core stable and just having some gentle swaying. And I can give you a few really gentle exercises. The key is to not exercise heavily. A lot. If you go to a lot of doctors, they'll say, "Oh, you've got to get your heart rate up and you've got to get out of breath." No, that's really good for people on the healthy eating plan, for people who are already healthy, because what that does is it squeezes the sugar out of their muscles and into their blood system. And it basically stresses their body, and that's what helps them burn up the food that they've just eaten, because they don't have any fat to fuel their bodies. But we have years worth. I mean, if you're like me, you certainly do. You have decades worth of fuel stored around your body that shouldn't be there, that's unnatural to be there. But you've got to use that fuel first. And stress causes the opposite to happen. If I want to make the quickest, like instantaneous change in your body, I can change your body chemistry like that. All I have to do is scare you, basically. Come on, Jim, put a gun in your head. What you'll do is, at the same second that you take that intake of breath, that gasp, You will also shut down your digestion system, and it will not work at all, because your body wants to take all of those resources that it was using on digestion and put them into fight or flight. In other words, put them into stress mode. It will release cortisol. Your body will feel the adrenaline flowing through it. Your heart rate will quicken, and you will get out of breath, like mimicking those people who are healthy, the way they exercise. That is the worst place to be in if you want to burn your fat off. You have to be in a place of rest. So the medical fraternity call it rest and digest. When your body is at rest, it can digest. When it's stressed, it won't. It will refuse to. And this is why two people can eat exactly the same meal and not get the same nutritional benefit. The person who is stressed, it's just like they may as well just put it in the bin or put it in the gutter, because their body's digestion system is shut down with all of that stress hormone in them, and it doesn't metabolize properly. The job never gets done properly. So we want to not stress with our diet. We want to not stress with our exercise. We want to do things like this: sit out by the pool, have some time in the sun, relax. The other thing that your miraculous body does when you sit in the sunshine is the blood vessels just below your skin release nitric oxide. And what that does is it helps you relax, including all your blood vessels. So your blood pressure drops dramatically when you have just a few minutes in the sun, because again, your body creates what it needs to have, just like the plants do. Aren't our bodies amazing? When we treat them right, when we give them the right signals. And so this is another area where people go wrong. If your body is working fine and you're skinny and healthy and it's got all the right signaling going on, that all your body needs is just food for fuel. But if your body is not working right, then what your body really needs is some signals to start doing the things it needs to do. And one of those is you need to be out in the sun, because that kicks off that nutrition creation factory, and it kicks off that lowering of your blood pressure kind of thing, lowering of insulin and IGF-1, which is the insulin growth factor. You do not want to have insulin growth factor. You want the opposite effect of that. Again, you want to start telling your body, okay, I'm at rest. It's time for you to start repairing all the things that are unhealthy about my body. It's time for you to finish all of those digestion processes that were never done right, get all of those toxins out of my body, balance all of the hormones in my body, get my gut flora and my microbiome working normally and healthy. That only happens when you're hungry, basically, when you've had an intermittent fasting time. So again, just like the trees, as I told you before, and as you learned in 4th grade, the way that they create their food is through a process of photosynthesis, which works off sunlight. But as you may have noticed, there's not sunlight 24/7. It's only about 12 hours a day. Only about half the day is in sunlight on average. It's longer during summer, it's shorter during winter. But when there's no light, the body repairs itself. It fasts from that food process. Photosynthesis doesn't happen when it's dark, and your body needs that darkness and that fasting period to do all of the work that it has to do. And if you're morbidly obese, it's got more work to do than a healthy person. Healthy person is already in balance, doesn't have to balance any hormones. Healthy person has healthy microbiome, doesn't have to need any repair. Healthy person already has good levels of blood sugar and blood oxygen and hormones and all those things, whereas a morbidly obese person needs more work done in that. And you may or may not know, the only time that you actually lose weight, you actually burn fat, is in your deepest sleep, when you are most relaxed. So your body has this circadian rhythm, and when you sleep, all sorts of things happen. Your body knows how to do that you don't have any idea how to do. When you eat something, your body breaks that down into proteins and carbohydrates and fats. And if I asked you to do that, you don't know how to do that. It all happens subconsciously, unconsciously, without you knowing about it. And that's the same way your body actually burns fat. It does it in the deepest part of sleep. So you get about 4 opportunities of that each night, because your body goes through these cycles. They're about 90 minutes long, and you get 4 opportunities for them to. So if you're not sleeping properly, then you're going to have issues with getting the most out of your weight loss journey. The best way to do that is to try and get good sleep first. So for you, if your body's out of whack, you might have to sleep more in the morning, less at night at first. But you will find as your body starts to repair itself, you'll become like a normal person and you'll start waking up naturally. And you may have never done that before. You'll start feeling tired naturally. Your body's eyelids will kind of get heavy naturally. Why? Because you've now fixed your body. This biomimicry is actually working and you're now healthy. That's the time that you switch back your diet to the healthy eating plans that your doctor's been trying to get you on that never worked for you before. So anyway, if this sounds like it's helpful and you think that I could help you in your journey, please get in contact. I've got nothing to sell. I'm just here to help. It's all completely free and natural. There aren't any products. There aren't any surgeries or clinics or anything that I can charge you for. It's biomimicry. It's the way that God intended it, for free, abundantly, for anyone, for everyone. And I just want to share it with you and be part of your journey. And if it's helping you, please get in contact with me as well. Leave a comment or send me an email and let me know, because then I can let other people know about your journey. Because when I'm talking to people, they go, what helped me the most was knowing that other people who had had every other option fail for them were able to hope in this for a start, to give it a go, and that it worked for them. And so the more people that tell me about their results, the more that helps me to help other people. So please don't say, oh, she wouldn't be interested in me. I'm really interested in you, because it's one of the ways that I can help more people. So please get in contact. I'd love to hear from you. And if you've got any other insights on biomimicry weight loss, then please let me know. I want to share as much knowledge as I can and create a whole community of people who do the same. So please let me know and get in contact, and I hope to hear from you soon. Remember, do the opposite of what everyone else says. You've got to be a bit of a rebel, but it will work for you. I promise you that. See ya.